Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 446 based on novel. So let's start. A true god body that was almost 1,000,000 kilometers long fell on the ground, and the ground trembled. The tail of the body touched a soldier near it. Those soldiers all turned around. When they saw the body of that strange beast true god, they all exclaimed. The eyes of the golden being shot golden light, covering the body of the strange beast true god. He then nodded. This is indeed a true god from Nine Smoke Marsh. The task is finished. 10,000 military credits awarded. Luophone was startled. It could tell that the body was from Nine Smoke Marsh with a simple inspection. It seemed that the military indeed had astounding control over the world of Jin. Name your requirement. The golden being looked at Luophone. You can exchange these 10,000 military points for weapons, machines, inheritance, and anything else on the list. If you have other valuables, you can also give them to the military and get military credits. Here is the list. A giant light screen appeared in front of Luophone after the golden being stopped speaking. There was a detailed list on the screen, and Luophone skimmed through it. I want the basic information about those above true gods, said Luophone. Basic information, said the golden being. There are only 3 pieces of material about the basic information. Based on the detail and level of secrecy, they require military credits equal to 100, 500, and 3,000, respectively. Luophone was shocked. It was only basic information, not even a training guide, yet it required so many military credits. The military credits gained from a catastrophe-level task was only 10,000. It was easy for him to get 1 or even 2 supreme true treasures from Wuhi with 1 true god body, possibly more. He indeed wanted to know more. I want the highest class, said Luophone. 3,000 military credits spent, said the golden being. Soldier from Python River Army, you still have 7,000 military credits left and you can only read the secret information here. A multitude of text appeared on the screen in front of Luophone. Only he could read the words, no others could see it, and neither could he see trades made by other soldiers. Here? Luophone whispered and started to read. The text was tiny, and the screen was enormous. There were 100 million words on each light screen. Based on the basic information, there were undying fighters, law masters, universe knights, law masters, universe masters, true gods of void space, and eternal true gods. When a life form was born in the world of Jin, they were all at the undying level. Generally, everyone who grew to adulthood could become undying, and some talents could become undying after they were born. Undying fighters, law knights, and law masters were all godly body life forms. Their energies and life imprints were merged into one. When the godly power was consumed, the life imprint was consumed as well. Some races had souls, while some life forms, such as rock beings, had other cores. All of them had life imprints. The more the life imprint was consumed, the more the power would tumble. 50% of the godly body consumed would decrease someone's power by 90%. That was the flaw of a godly body life form. Once someone became a true god, they would return to the origin like a baby, returning to their real lives. Flesh and blood type life forms would still be flesh and blood, and metal life forms would still be metal. For example, flesh and blood type life forms couldn't contain life imprints in their blood and bones. Like domain lords and sector lords, their souls and bodies were separated. However, after becoming a true god, they would become a flesh and blood type of life form again. Their soul and body would be separated again. The energies of true gods were bodies. Each inch of the body could burn and would become enormous fighting energies. The soul of a true god was hidden in a heart of true god. True gods of void space, and eternal true gods all had a heart of true god, which was actually a mysterious space inside the bodies of true gods. Inside that mysterious space was the soul of a true god, and the mysterious space also connected the miniature universe outside. No matter how far a true god was from their miniature universe, they could transfer the energies in their miniature universe to their heart of true god. There were 3 ways to kill a true god. 1. Completely destroy the body of a true god, thus destroying the mysterious space, and the true god would die. 2. Use soul attacks to kill the soul of a true god, and the true god would die. The third and most common method was to attack a true gods using power beyond their defense. Then the strong shock waves would keep damaging the mysterious space, the heart of true god. Once the heart crumbled, true gods would naturally die, just as an ordinary wearing armor would be killed if hit by a hammer on his chest, as the shock waves would crush his soul. The same rule applied. The more powerful the bodies were, the less their hearts of true God would be weakened. If the body could resist all the attacks, the hearts of true God would be perfectly fine. Flesh and blood life forms, rock life forms, and plant life forms. This rule applied to all of them. Once someone became a true God, his body and soul would be separated. No matter how much energy a true God burned, it wouldn't affect his power, as the godly power didn't involve souls. True gods had miniature universes, and they were transformed from god countries, not created by true gods. Then true gods needed to comprehend the birth and operation of the universe until they could control a void space. One thought, and a void space was formed. This was the ability of a true god of void space. True gods of void space would keep improving in power, comprehending more, until one day when they would reach a limit on comprehending the evolution of the entire universe. Then he could even create a miniature universe with one thought. One thought, and a universe was formed. This was the ability of an eternal true God. Miniature universes formed in this method were different than the miniature universe created by Luo Feng's inherited technique, I am the universe. The miniature universe created by that technique was far too simple, yet the miniature universes created by eternal true gods were battlefields, as eternal true gods couldn't create universes that were too large. One thought, and an area of 10,000 square light years would fall into a miniature universe. The eternal true God was the master of that miniature universe. Other than being tiny, miniature universes were exactly like normal universes. They were so powerful that eternal true gods could easily suppress true gods of void space. True gods of void space, and eternal true gods. It was a process of comprehension of the evolution of the universe until one could create a miniature universe with one thought. There were 4 eternal true gods in the world of Jinn. They were the 4 generals from the 4 armies. They managed the world of Jinn, and they were superior. If a true god of void space made a breakthrough and became an eternal true god, he could leave world of Jinn and fight for His Majesty the Godly King. Other soldiers needed to be summoned by His Majesty the Godly King to go out. However, eternal true gods could go out by themselves. Go out by themselves? Luo Feng exclaimed. If that Godly King is still alive, then his eternal true gods can go out and fight for them. However, that giant, human-shaped creature was lying in Universe Ocean, so the Godly King might have died already. His Majesty the Godly King has died, and according to the original mind, no life forms in the world of Jinn can survive outside. Even if a peerless talent is born and becomes an eternal true god, he might die instantly after leaving the world of Jinn. Luo Feng sighed and kept reading. True gods of void space were the overlords of an area in the world of Jinn. Eternal true gods were absolutely supreme beings, and they were great officials of His Majesty the Godly King. However, there were still differences among true gods of void space, and eternal true gods. When someone became a true god, his god country would turn into a miniature universe, and the structure of the miniature universe was very important. The diameter of a true god's miniature universe was 100 million light years. However, after becoming a true god of void space, there would be differences. Because of the structure of the miniature universe, some would have a diameter of 1.8 billion light years. Some would have 2.5 billion light years, and some would have 5 billion light years. The smallest miniature universe of a true god of void space had a diameter of 1 billion light years, while the largest was 10 billion light years. Oh! Luo Feng was surprised. The 2 Holy Lands. Purple Moon Holy Land has a diameter of 2.1 billion light years, while Eastern Emperor Holy Land has one of 3.2 billion light years. Based on those dimensions, both Eastern Emperor Ancestor and Purple Moon Ancestor were true gods of void space. I'll keep reading. Miniature universes were the foundation. They could absorb the energies outside and transform them into godly power without life imprint. Every time a great being made a breakthrough, either from true gods to true gods of void space or from true gods of void space to eternal true gods, they would only make a breakthrough when their miniature universes transformed also. That was why, when great beings died, miniature universes would crumble. If a miniature universe was destroyed, the great being could still live and absorb the energies outside, but they wouldn't be able to make any breakthroughs anymore, no matter how deep their comprehension was. Miniature universes, however, were very stable and they were difficult to destroy. Only the limit-level great beings among true gods of void space could destroy miniature universes of true gods. Only the limit-level beings of eternal true gods could destroy miniature universes of true gods of void space. And nobody was able to destroy the miniature universes of eternal true gods. However, all the miniature universes of the great beings in the world of Jinn were arranged in the center of the world of Jinn by His Majesty the Godly King, so no great beings were able to get there. There were three main levels of progression: true God, then true God of void space, and finally, eternal true God. To advance from one level to the next, the difficulty level continuously increased by leaps and bounds. The number of eternal true gods in the world of Jinn said it all. Strictly speaking, there were two ways to become a true god. They were the godly power route and the law route. Between the two, the law route was most common. But if one chose the godly power route, the process would be much more difficult. And once one was successful in choosing the godly power route, the life genes at each level would be divided accordingly. There would be a total of 3 levels, and anyone who was able to attain the third level, 90,000 times life gene level, would be regarded as a legend. In other words, going by the godly power route, one's life genes would have to reach 90,000 times to become a true god. The difficulty level was very high. But going by the godly power route, one could become a true god that was comparable to an eternal true god. Any true god who was able to achieve 90,000 times life gene level could easily become a true god of void space. Moving forward, becoming an eternal true god would no longer be that difficult. Luo Feng finished looking through everything at one go, but toward the end, he could not help frowning. The godly power route was so difficult. It required life genes to be multiplied by 90,000 times. It was almost unimaginably difficult. Before this reincarnation era ends, will I be able to achieve 90,000 times of my life genes? Luo Feng was not confident of achieving this himself. No matter what, I have got to try my best. Before this reincarnation era ends, if even I cannot reach 90,000 times life gene level, then regardless of my life gene level at that point, I will achieve a breakthrough to become a true god, right? After Luo Feng finished looking through everything, he said, I want to look at some inheritances. You may, the golden figure replied instantly. This is the list of the various inheritances. The screen changed. All the text disappeared. In their place was a gigantic, detailed list of inheritances. The list was divided into refined treasures, automaton treasures, close combat treasures, and various other categories. 5,000 military credits, 10,000 military credits, and 100,000 military credits. TSK, TSK. This one that is worth 10,000 military credits, why must any interested warrior be from a special troop in order to be allowed to trade for it? Looking down the list, Luo Feng was shocked to learn that these inheritances were, indeed, very expensive and required many military credits as payment. There were even some special inheritances that normal warriors would not be able to trade for, even if they could pay the price. So expensive. Huh? The second stage of the blazing godly power secret technique that a lawmaster will be able to execute costs 1,000,000 military credits. Luo Feng was dumbfounded. He had not expected the world of Jinn to possess such a superior blazing godly power secret technique. It was comparable to the first 2 volumes of Extermination. After going through the list of numerous inheritances, Luo Feng lamented the tremendous amount of military credits required. I want to take a look at weapons like armors, Luo Feng said. You may, the golden figure responded. The list on the screen changed again. After every name on the screen, there was a pattern designed for each weapon or piece of armor, along with the military credits required and also the power of the respective armors. Luo Feng scanned through the list in one glance. True God level armors cost roughly 10,000 military credits. True God level weapons, on the other hand, vary in price. Weapons at the lower end of the spectrum cost 2,000 military credits, while weapons at the higher end cost as much as 1,000,000 military credits. As for true God-level battleships, the cheapest costs 50,000 military credits. Luo Feng looked through every item on the list. Apparently, Palace-type Supreme True Treasures were the priciest. Next in line were Soul-type Supreme True Treasures, which required at least 30,000 military credits, followed by Domain-type, Armor-type, and, last but not least, Attack-type. Of course, every category featured something unique. The most expensive Attack-type treasure cost a whopping 1,000,000 military credits. The most expensive Palace-type treasure also required 1,000,000 military credits. I have over 300,000 military credits, which means I can trade for a decent amount of Supreme True Treasures. Luo Feng secretly heaved a sigh of relief. The prices of Supreme True Treasures were not overly high. Just reading about the inheritances, seeing the weapon armor, and looking at some travel notes about the world of Jin took him a full day. Yet the golden figure before Luo Feng showed no trace of impatience. Luo Feng's eyes gradually lit up as he said solemnly, "I want to look at automaton-type treasures." Coming to the world of Jin, he had 3 major goals. The first was to gather enough true god corpses as materials to help him become a true god. The second goal was to probe into the secrets of the world of Jin, and the third was to find a suitable and powerful automaton-type treasure. He had Shawu wings and the boat of Mausoleum. One was for additional assistance while the other was for flight during an escape. Now, what he required was a treasure as a main attack weapon in battle. This is the list. The screen before the golden figure changed again. The list on the screen contained very few choices. Only a few dozen choices remained on the list like lonely souls, and yet all these were true god-level automaton treasures. Obviously, those automaton-type supreme true treasures that were of higher levels were not shown at all. Luo Feng supposed that was because his power was still not enough. 86 kinds? Luo Feng looked through carefully. There were so few kinds left on the screen. For every kind shown on the screen, there were matching pictures and simple introductions. Black cloud wings. Luo Feng's gaze quickly fell upon one of the automaton-type treasures. Black cloud wings, true god-level automaton, ordinary. 150,000 military credits required for exchange. Python River Army warriors allowed to own this power. Strength, skilled in escaping, extremely high defensibility, skillful in restraining and entrapping enemies. Weakness, attack power on the weaker side. Earlier on, in 9 Smoke Marsh, the captain had used this black cloud wings to deal with Luo Feng. The restraining power was indeed powerful to the extent of being scary. Luo Feng supposed that if he had not used Boat of Mausoleum and had instead chosen to use Blood Ghost Blade, he would most likely have to execute extermination if he wanted to break free of the restraining power of Black Cloud Wings and make his escape. And this is only a true god-level automaton treasure of ordinary standard? Luo Feng was amazed. At first glance, 100,000 military credits, 100,000 military credits, 120,000 military credits, 120,000 military credits, 130,000 military credits, 150,000 military credits, 300,000 military credits, 1 million military credits, 3 million military credits. Further down the list, the prices of different automaton-type treasures increased by leaps and bounds. The increase was soaring at a staggering rate. Even true god-level weapons could reach a price of 1 million military credits, not to mention automaton-type treasures. Regardless of how good the treasure is, if I cannot afford it, what more can I do? Luo Feng was not so overly ambitious as to look right to the most expensive treasure. Instead, he contemplated the list of automaton-type treasures that fell within the range of 300,000 military credits to 350,000 military credits. Very soon, he locked down his target. It was a huge blade that required 2 hands for a firm grip. It was extremely intimidating, yet beautiful. Misty Blade, true god-level automaton, ordinary. 320,000 military credits required for exchange. Python River Army warriors allowed to own this power. Strength, upon transformation of godly power via the inner core of Misty Blade, an extremely strong attack power will be produced. Weakness, consumption of godly power is extremely high. I need something with strong attack power, and besides, my main weapon is the blade. Luo Feng was a little tempted as he continued to look at it. It is only a true god-level automaton. Before reincarnation, it will be more than enough for me. The moment I transcend reincarnation, this blade will obviously lose some importance. By that time, it would also be good if it is left for my human race. It's just that, its functions kind of coincides with that of Blood Ghost Blade. Luo Feng continued reading on. One by one, he looked down the list. The further down the list of automaton-type treasures he got, the more unique and precious they became. Luo Feng even came across an automaton battleship that was comparable to his Boat of Mausoleum, and an automaton battleship which had a self-initiated attack ability. The last piece. Luo Feng held his breath. The last one was the most expensive true god-level automaton. It was named Wu Qi God. Wu Qi God, true god-level automaton, unique item. This item was personally created by His Majesty the Godly King. There is only one. 30 million military credits required for exchange. Only true gods or law masters who have been sealed with a title have the authority to trade for it. Reminder, Python River Army warriors are not allowed the rights to trade for this. Strengths: 1. Extremely strong defense. His Majesty the Godly King chose precious and rare materials to make and further refine this Wu-Chi god. Even eternal true gods could not damage it. 2. Extremely strong attack force. Possesses incomparably strong attack power. 3. Extremely fast in dodging. Wu-Chi god's body structure determined its extreme agility. Weakness: extremely strong power requires an alarming amount of godly power. Godly bodies of ordinary true gods will be consumed to nothingness in the blink of an eye. Gentle reminder, since its creation by the noble godly king, there has been no great being qualified to trade for Wu-Chi god with military credits. Its power has merely been speculated and has not been tested. However, for the noble godly king to stoop to the level of creating a true god-level automaton-type treasure, it must be powerful. Also, any creation by the hands of His Majesty the Godly King could never be of inferior quality. The conditions of exchange were personally determined by His Majesty the Godly King. Wu-Chi god was an automaton treasure that resembled the form of a monkey with a streamlined body and an agile tail. Just by looking at the picture, one could feel how dynamic Wu-Chi god was and how fast its speed of movement must be. Wu-Chi god? Luo Feng felt the temptation stirring within his heart. To Luo Feng, who had a very deep understanding of the ancient civilization, he was clearly aware of the value of Wu-Chi god. It represented the ultimate perfection of a single body-type treasure. Wu wings also belonged to this category of single body-type treasures. Only one great being could control it, and it would mainly focus on its role in the form of assistance. On the other hand, Wu-Chi god could be regarded as perfection, minus the weakness of consuming godly power too quickly. It was perfect in all other ways. 30 million military credits. Luo Feng bellowed in his heart. Where am I going to find such an exorbitant amount of military credits? And even if I did have 30 million military credits, I am not qualified to buy it. I must be a true god or law master who has received a seal to have the authority to trade for it. And ever since its creation by His Majesty the Godly King, no one has managed to trade for it. Luo Feng shook his head and lamented. The world of Jin had a far-reaching history. His Majesty the Godly King had disappeared a long, long time ago. From this, it could be speculated that the creation of Wu-Chi god would certainly have happened a long time ago. The world of Jin had such a systematic selection process for choosing great beings, and yet none had ever managed to conquer Wu-Chi god and claim it. This showed how difficult the process was. Receiving a seal? Luo Feng frowned, mumbling to himself. What does it mean by receiving a seal? I must be a true god or law master who has received a seal before qualifying to trade. A sealed great being seems to be someone with a much higher position than a warrior from a special troop. He looked at the golden figure in front of him. I would like to know more information related to receiving a seal. 500 military credits required, the golden figure said. This requires 500 military credits. Although he was reluctant, Luo Feng was clearly in no position to bargain. All right. He could only nod. The screen before him changed into a detailed, written introduction. Being given a seal meant that a great being was outstanding to the point of perfection. And upon reaching this level of perfection, one would be qualified enough to be sealed by being given a Jin name, representing the utmost glory. Every great being that had been bestowed with a seal held on an extremely high position. In the world of Jin, the only great beings who had been bestowed with a seal were the 4 major generals, who had total supremacy over all the true gods of void space. Sealed with a Jin character? Luo Feng was taken aback. The previous Duan Dong River had been sealed with a Wu character. Jin? Wu? His Majesty the Godly King? Luo Feng nodded discreetly as he continued watching. The requirements for receiving a seal were very stringent. Of course, the moment one became a prominent eternal true god, he would be rewarded with a seal right away. As for true gods of void space, the number who could possibly be rewarded with seals was, instead, only 1 in a million. As for true gods? In the long ages since the day of Wu-Chi god's creation, in the whole world of Jin, not a single true god had been sealed. After Wu-Chi god was created by His Majesty the Godly King, no true gods were able to be sealed. As for law masters, nobody ever got close to being sealed. Once someone became a sealed great being, his status would be greatly changed. First of all, he would be close to the 4 generals. Also, he would receive a great many benefits, like Wu-Chi god, which were invaluable. However, it was almost impossible. The requirement was so strict that it stopped countless talented great beings in world of Jinn, yet lots of talents from all the armies would desire to get sealed. Huh? Luo Feng read all the material and frowned. Trying to get sealed? How can that be? Luo Feng looked at the golden being in front of him and said, "Are there any tasks that can help me get sealed?" The golden being said coldly, "Yes." "What tasks?" asked Luo Feng. He wanted to try. He was very confident. After all, he was an inheritor of Duandong River. "Soldier from Python River Army, you're a law master," said the golden being. "There are only two ways for you to be sealed." Luo Feng listened carefully. "The first way," said the golden being. "You need to satisfy two conditions. As long as you satisfy these two conditions, you will be sealed. The first condition is that you need to follow the godly power path to become a true god, and your life gene level needs to reach 90,000 times. When you're done, don't become a true god first. Let the 4 generals test it. Second, there are 10,081 games in the basic game of Rhinoceros Emperor game. If you can solve all of them, you'll meet the conditions. If you can meet both the conditions, you'll be sealed immediately. Besides, you'll have lots of privileges. Your status will be higher than all the ordinary sealed great beings, and you'll be equivalent to 4 generals." Luo Feng was dazed. It was insane. This is too, Luo Feng didn't know what to say. Who made these conditions? Luo Feng couldn't help asking. "The great His Majesty the Godly King," said the golden being. It was crazy. Godly power path. 90,000 times life gene level. Even in the ancient civilization, that was very difficult, not to mention in the world of Jinn, where all the valuables were controlled by the army. The soldiers couldn't get the incredible opportunities, yet they still needed to reach a life gene level of 90,000 times. He was following the path, so that condition was still acceptable. However, 10,081 games of Rhinoceros Emperor game in a row? Was His Majesty the Godly King insane? Though there wasn't any time limit, it was madness to expect a law master to solve all 10,081 games. None of the inheritors of Duandong River could do that when they were law masters. Such a peerless talent might become the new godly king in the future. Both conditions are insane, Luo Feng thought. If someone can satisfy both conditions, it'll be easy for them to become eternal true gods, and they'll have the brightest future and will stand among the top beings of the entire ancient civilization. Insane. His Majesty the Godly King really thinks the true god-level machine Wu Chi God is that incredible. Luo Feng shook his head. There were many powers in the ancient civilization, and Jin was only one of them. Once that kind of peerless genius was found, all the powers would try to seize him. "There are 2 paths, right?" Luo Feng asked, looking at the golden being. "What about the second path?" The great godly king knew that the first path was too difficult, said the golden being. So he left the second path so that all law masters can apply for sealing tasks. When the task begins, they'll know the requirements. They'll be required to complete a task, and once they complete it, they'll be sealed. Sealing task? Luo Feng thought. For every era, there would be a military task, and it was the only task. If he wanted to take another task, he needed to wait until the next era. "What's the death rate of the sealing task?" asked Luo Feng. "For every era, there will be soldiers applying for the sealing tasks," said the golden being coldly. "Lots of soldiers from all the armies will participate in the sealing task, and the death rate is around 90%. Only 10% can live, and nobody has managed to complete the sealing task." Luo Feng gasped. In the Endless Era, nobody had been able to finish the task. 90% of the participants died, while only 10% of them managed to survive. Of course, they had failed the task as well. "What's the task about?" Luo Feng couldn't help asking. "Soldier from Python River Army, as long as you apply for the task, you'll know when the next task period arrives," said the golden being. "By the way, train yourself well before taking on that task. Go through some incarnation-level tasks first." Luo Feng nodded. The giant lake was tranquil. A strange beast floated in the sky, and his wings were shaking. He looked into the distance anxiously. He was waiting for someone. Wu He floated in the sky and kept whispering to himself. Why hasn't he come? He just went to one-arm spot. He should be here. Don't turn all the true god bodies into military credits. Milky Way, my life depends on you. I have lots of valuables, and if you want me to give you valuables, I'll give them to you. Wu He was worried. Suddenly, his eyes gleamed. A being appeared, teleported, and arrived in the area. Milky Way, Milky Way. Wu He's wings shook, and he flew toward him. Luo Feng took a look and smiled. No need to rush it. Let's go down first. Okay, said Wu He. Luo Feng dove and arrived on the island down there, followed by Wu He. Wu He looked around. This island is so well designed. Everything's so simple and natural, yet there's something special. I won't be able to do that. Only you can. Even my father can't do such a good job as you. This was designed by the soldiers who lived here before. Luo Feng waved his hands, and a stone chair flew toward him and landed in front of him. Luo Feng sat down and said, I'm lazy, so I didn't change anything. Wu He was dazed, then said, that's right. You're right, Milky Way. We need to focus on improving our power. Power is all that matters. Luo Feng looked at Wu He and said, stop flattering me. You're really bad at it. Wu He felt awkward. He was the child of Northern True Ocean, so he didn't need to flatter anyone. He wasn't very experienced. I've kept your share. Luo Feng looked at Wu He. Don't you worry about that. Wu He relieved. But you need to show your sincerity, said Luo Feng. Show me your valuables. Wu He said, just wait and see, Milky Way. An armor covered with green scales showed up on the ground. This is a true god armor I brought, and it's better than the armor from Python River Army. He took a look at Luo Feng, but Luo Feng didn't seem to care. Wu He wasn't surprised. He knew that it was impossible to exchange a true god body with a true god armor. This is a true god ship I brought from Northern True Ocean. Wu He took out the real deal. An ancient golden ship landed on the ground. Luo Feng took a look at the ship, then looked away again. Wu He grew anxious. This ship is a true god-level ship. Luo Feng didn't seem to be interested. Actually, Luo Feng was quite pleased. Just as I expected, he thought. He's a child of Northern True Ocean Master, so it's normal for him to take a Supreme True Treasure Palace out to flee, but I can't just let him go. He might have something better. This spaceship is worth at least 50,000 military credits. This is a good deal. Wu He got anxious. These are all the weapons and armors of Law Masters I gathered in Nine Smoke Marsh. They are all here. Wu He took out a bracelet on his claw. Luo Feng took a look and still didn't seem to care. Wu He grew even more anxious. Are these enough, Milky Way? He looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng took a look. He was still a ferocious strange beast. His face was covered with scales, and he still looked fierce. Yet his eyes appeared weak. No, Luo Feng whispered. Luo Feng didn't care. He didn't believe that Wu He would only take these valuables out, particularly coming from Northern True Ocean. The master of Northern True Ocean was strict and had only allowed Wu He to bring this many out. He could still ask Wu He to go back to Northern True Ocean to get more valuables. There was still a long time until the deadline. Wu He could totally go back to Northern True Ocean and come back. Northern True Ocean was enormous, so Luo Feng needed to make the best use of it. Milky Way. Wu He clenched his teeth and stared at Luo Feng. I did bring a valuable out when I came here. I can give you that valuable, but I will need my ship back. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. It seemed that Wu He had something more precious than the ship. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed as he gazed at Wu He. Bring it out. This video will end here.